What's going on, guys? It's Stock Picks by Tim. Hope you're enjoying your weekend. In this video, I'm going to go over 3 of my highest conviction stocks. We've got a couple of articles to go over too. I want to give you some pointers on the chart, and let's get right into it. Now, all that I ask is hit the like, subscribe, ring the notification bell. I definitely appreciate it. Now, first off, I'm going to get into my highest conviction semiconductor stock, and a lot of you may already know which one that is, and let's get right into it. And it is going to be none other than Indi Semiconductors. A lot of you may not be aware of this stock. None of the big YouTubers talk about it, none that I'm aware of. And, I gotta say, it's one of my highest conviction stocks by a mile. Now, this article is coming out of Forbes, and I will leave you guys a link below, but I just wanted to brush on a couple of things that they mention. First off, they show the top semiconductor stocks in terms of the highest growth rates for this current fiscal year. And who's on the top of that list? Yes, Indi with a 130% growth estimate for the current fiscal year. And will they achieve that? It's up to time to decide. But looking at their previous revenues, we will get over that in a second, and I'll show you why I'm pretty convinced that they can achieve that. They also show semiconductors with top forward price to sales, and we've got Nvidia at a 12 price to sales. We've got Indi at only a 7 price to sales, and I'd argue that Indi has a lot more upside potential, a lot more growth ahead of them, a lot more revenue growth compared to something like Nvidia. So I think it's really interesting just to see Indi at a much lower price to sales. And Indi also makes the list in the top 5 ranked semiconductor stocks based on profit margin, net profit margin. You're looking at Indi top of the list with a 49% profit margin. There's definitely more to this article, and I will leave it down below. Don't forget to check it out. And now I did want to show you a couple of things in terms of their revenue. So reported August 10, we had a revenue of 9 million. Next quarter was 12.16. Next quarter after that, close to 19 million. And then our last quarter was 22 million. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see this continued growth in terms of revenue for Indi. They have a multi-billion-dollar backlog. They supply chips to the leading manufacturers. And when you look at the executive team, we're talking about people that have literally 20 years plus working together within themselves. So they know how to run a business. And I'd argue that is one of the most crucial things with Indi is the executive team. With every stock, you want to see a good executive team, and I think Indi has literally got the executive team to beat. I have not personally seen a more advanced executive team. I urge you in the comments, let me know, is there a company with a better executive team? Look at Indi, tell me what you think. Now, I did want to bring up some points on the chart, and once we get into $8, we will find some resistance. Starting right, of course, at 8. It is a psychological number. Once we break 8, we can definitely push farther. And the next area will be roughly about 860, 870. So be aware that, we can definitely pull back. We were literally just sitting at $5. Earnings came up, lit a fire under this one and just pushed it further. They gave good guidance. They were at the higher end of their revenue expectations when they reported their revenue of 22 million. And yeah, that just sent this one flying. Of course, a lot of stocks saw this May 12th as just a max fear, total capitulation day. And I'd argue that Indi isn't going to get back down there. There are some stocks I think that can come back to that max fear, May 12th type time where we were just sitting at $5. I don't see Indi doing it. Very bullish on Indi, very bullish on semiconductors in general. But if this does show any weakness, if this does pull back, I think it'll be a great opportunity to buy Indi once more. I don't think it will last very long at these prices. I'm very bullish on it. Next up, I wanted to get into another semiconductor stock that I'm also very bullish on this one. And this one specifically, I like playing with, breakout trades to the upside or to the downside, either direction, doesn't matter. And this is going to be AMD, Advanced Micro Devices. It has pushed very nicely. Now we're pushing $102. I would play it on a breakout of 104 personally. And that would be to the upside. Now to the downside, if it breaks 100 even, I think that would be great for a breakout to the downside. Just in and out on the scalp it and get out. Don't stick around too long, just a quick day trade. Set a stop loss and just ride that momentum. That's definitely one way I like to play AMD with its, the high volatility that this one has. But be aware, anything under $100 I personally think is a great long-term buy. They gave good future guidance on their last earnings. They beat revenue. Definitely great things. Lisa Su has been turning AMD around. And in terms of just looking at computer tech, I definitely prefer AMD over Intel. Better bang for your buck. And AMD's recent acquisition of Xilinx is another huge growth driver for AMD. Definitely bullish on this one. Definitely bullish on semiconductors in general. We all know that this is definitely the direction things need to take. More and more things are going to need more chips. Cars are going to need more chips. Data centers, of course, are going to need more chips. And these are definitely things that are going to help AMD. Maybe not cars, but, data centers specifically, of course. I am a huge fan of AMD for the long term, and it's also fun to play those breakout trades. Definitely money to be made on AMD. And next up, I wanted to get into Chargepoint stock, or CHPT. And this one actually has earnings coming right up. I did mention it in my previous video, but I definitely recommend you guys look out for this one. Earnings is really going to be the deciding factor in the direction that this one takes. Now, first off, I wanted to highlight this article, and I'll leave you a link below, of course, but they basically mention a potential reversal coming. They also talk about their estimation for fiscal year 2023, and they're saying it's going to be a revenue for that year of about 462 million. So that obviously means at some point very soon, Chargepoint is going to be demanding over 100 million per quarter in revenue to reach that 462 million. Right now, we're sitting in the $70 million level. Our last earnings was 76 million, I believe. We're expecting 76 million again. No. Our last the previous earnings, they expected 76 million. They got 80. I want to see us get 81 million or higher, which would indicate a quarter-over-quarter increase in revenue. But even honestly, if they only got 81, that would be a very small increase in revenue compared to what they've typically done. Of course, we've got the macro environment to worry about, and this could be the reason why we have some kind of lower sandbag numbers here for Chargepoint of only 76 million for the quarter. But I do expect them to beat that. I really want to see them beat the last quarter of roughly 81 million. I want to see them beat that quarter, which was the last quarter. But yeah, it's definitely interesting to see that, soon they will be over 100 million in revenue, and I do expect to see that. And we might even be surprised this quarter and see far over 80 million in revenue if their typical revenue growth continues. So it could even be as high as 90 million. I would not be too surprised with something like Chargepoint. Definitely very bullish on this one. And, their earnings continues to beat. Maybe not their EPS, but definitely their revenue. And last couple earnings, they gave their earnings, they gave their call, gave good forward guidance, gave good revenue. And then what happens? This thing just runs up after hours, either 20% up, 30% up. With how much this has been beaten down, I could easily see it run 30% if we get some really good revenue numbers for this one. But there's more reasons than that to get into this stock. That's just short-term thoughts. Definitely very bullish on the long term for Chargepoint. They're the market leader. And I wanted to quote something here from Piper Sandler Virtual EV Charging Day. And it says, we roam with everyone. So even though we have a very large market share in North America, you can access anyone's chargers that we roam with, and we run with the bulk of the networks out there. So a driver can literally stay in the Chargepoint app. We're powering the systems. We're plugged tightly into the ecosystem. We're a 15-year-old company. It's completely software driven. And Seeking Alpha did revise their rating of Chargepoint from a hold to a buy with a price target of $17. I'd argue that it deserves a higher price than that over the coming years. Now, looking at Chargepoint on the chart, it's very likely we find some resistances here starting in the $14 area, and specifically starting at 14 since it's a rounded psychological number, and then afterwards about 14.26. If we can break 14.26, we will push higher. I think on Tuesday we can definitely find some fear in this one, a little bit of pessimism. I wouldn't be surprised for a red day on Tuesday, considering the huge week that we had. You got to be aware how much this has ran. I mean, the May 12th, the max fear day, we were sitting at about 871. And this has since gotten all the way close to 14. And yes, Friday, it had like a 13% day. Definitely a crazy run this one's been having. I'm still very bullish on Chargepoint, and I'm not even thinking about taking profits yet. Now, your plan might be different. You might be very strapped for cash. You might be quicker to take profits. So that's totally up to you. But, I see Chargepoint still undervalued under $20, to be honest. If you're looking multiple years out, I would still add all the way up to $20 personally. And I think the gains will still be huge. Definitely very bullish on this one. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below on any of these three stocks. And what are your highest conviction picks? But thanks as always, guys, for watching. And until next time, take it easy.